Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome to Dreamy Dreamland with your Sensei Bob. You can hear the cockroaches, can't you? They're so bored. All they can do is get on their motorcycles, read a book, write a poem, paint a picture, go on a hike, even take their motor scooters. They just go around in a circle because they said, well, it's like racing. I said, we got plenty of other trails you could go up and see beautiful things. Why would I do that? That's boring. And that is kind of where we are at in the world dynamics. I don't know how many folks are attuned. Why this guy is on the motorcycle? He is terrified. He has no idea who the fuck he is. The only thing he can do is get on his motorcycle. And there's a bunch of them there, and they're going to stop racing now. And these roads are really bad. Really, one above me is I call it death road, right? And these ones are just tipping around. They lose one kid, the parents going by them, like getting older, where we have martial law, just because people are, and yet these clowns are just zipping around. They represent a good portion of the when they get too close, they're about 150 yards away. But I can smell that. And they're just going to go around and around. You know, it's mind-boggling, but it's not because you see it right in wherever you are. You're seeing the same thing. Not, you know, these guys are just a metaphor of what's going on. It's just going to collapse. What the orange turd is doing with tariffs and everything else. And getting rid of the illegal aliens are all terrible people. No, they're the people who cut our meat, who pick our vegetables, who work in construction, and that's all going to grind to a halt. It already is, right? So it's me. I'm an old guy, right? My not my best days, but my more active days, physical. I just had open heart surgery, right? And now these clowns just came from a celebration of um, a wedding, where they should be in a celebrity, not riding. First thing they did was get here and get on their motorcycles because they have nothing in their heart. They couldn't like stick around their mom and say, "Oh, I love you. Happy, I'm so happy you're happy." So, but it was nice. They went off someplace to get married for 3 days, and there was nobody here. It was quiet. It was nice. And basically, I came to the realization is when things are beautiful and nice, you appreciate them. And when they are, this, you basically don't get that upset about it. Right? So I see you guys are commenting. So I'm going to put on my reading glasses and see what you got to say. Hmm. Okay, let's see. What do I think? I think James Talbot is telling the truth about everything. Uh, your mic is fucked. No, my hand is on the little buttons there. Am you hearing me better? You hearing me better? Because I don't have the little tray that Fish gave me to put on my steering wheel because my steering wheel doesn't fit the tray. I guess you're just putting it out there in the anthropomorphic field. Who cats? Who is a name for God? Yep. So can you hear my voice better now that I'm holding the other end of the? Um, let's see. Yeah, I can hear your velvet voice. um, so if they don't, you know, because now all I can taste is exhaust, and that's 150 yards from me, right? Just think what, and they're like going around in circles, so they're leaving a cloud of putridness, and they are hyperventilating it. Right? So my Clark Kent glasses, yes. Anyway, so it's about 2 o'clock here, give or take, and so I'm just in the space. I kind of took a look at what was on the YouTube, and it's pretty messy out there. It's we're heading into martial law. Donnie is bringing in the National Guard. The ICE guys have, instead of showing up in suits, they showed up in body armor for the last week with heavy weapons and going into public spaces and just ripping people out, without any, due process whatsoever, any like warrants, just ripping them out, huh? Out of kitchens, out of, you know, stores, out of, and like I said, right now the poor farmers are in because the Chinese aren't buying anything. They haven't signed any new contracts. You're getting all the food from Brazil and other countries, and America is isolating itself to such a degree that it is going to physically collapse. Its bonds, treasury bonds, all its bonds is what pays for our debt. They're making the big beautiful bill. If they pass that, it's 11,000 pages long. Not a single congressman read the whole thing. And in it, there are places where it said that the president doesn't have to obey the Supreme Court or any other court. The president can do whatever he wants. The president is king. Sitting on the patio looking out at the mountains in the rain. Bibico fire, all well, 1900 hours. And the Tipperary. Yeah, Tipperary, that was the place I was thinking of. That's where the old crone, that road that comes over the mountains from the west coast around Skibbereen. You come out of Skibbereen, you're heading towards Glendore and Galway, heading west or north, I guess, or east, who knows, but you're on the west coast, right? You passed the Ring of Kerry and you're going further. That's 150. Ooh, he's skidding. Mm. So anyway, you're lucky, Jamie. You're in a place where this isn't the case. I mean, I came here because it was quiet, it was beautiful, bucolic, It was, you know, heavenly. And when the COVID broke out, that's when the cockroaches came in big, and the large corporations bought up everything because it's beautiful. But this place is so guyish. It is so, when everyone is, grew up here and is a holler folk, and you know they may not, super college education or any of the above, but they have lived in the woods their whole life, and they are in balance. They hunt, they fish, they have jobs, and now those jobs are being, because the forest that used to be harvested, not just cut down to build $1 million houses on, right? And this is what's happening to the rest of the world. And it seems my whole life, wherever I've gone into places that this is the case. I was told early in my life that my true gift is to speak truth to power, right? And basically, I've done that my whole life. And earlier part of my life, I was like Mr. Fix. I could take care of things politically, socially, physically, technologically. I could, navigate and negotiate and get people to work as a community, right? So I've done that my whole life, right? And yes, I got paid pretty good for doing that, right? Because I wasn't ideologically based. I didn't believe in anything other than God's co-creation, right? And so, wherever you are, you have to work for that, work through that, and go into that, right? And so I'm gonna go away because they went back to mommy, and I'm going to go get something to eat, right? And I'm going to see if this road is open. I was told it was. So that's my one of my little things I was going to do today was to go check that out. So they're not riding, so if I leave now, I won't crash into them. Because the other day I was leaving, and I'm a car, and they just cut right the frack in front of me, expecting me to jam on my brakes on as I'm going up the hill. Right? Anyway, so I'll be back in maybe 40, maybe an hour. Maybe around 3 o'clock, give or take. Or 3:30. Okay. Okay.